Right then, well, good evening everybody, and welcome to another GamingAlimonda live broadcast of the PSGL F1 division. We are here on round 2 for the Malaysian Grand Prix. After the drama of F3 last night, hopefully it's going to be a little bit calmer in F1 this week. And once again, I am joined by multiple F1 race winner Louis, aka QPRBeasts. Louis, welcome back once again to the commentary booth. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm very well, thank you. Looking forward to a good race today. Nice close race.
Yeah, so last week we saw BigC dominate, more or less lights the flag, apart from when he came in for his one and only pit stop. Do you expect that sort of domination this week, or do you think it's going to be a bit closer out there?
Well, BigC is not as quick as he was at Australia. The medium traction runners are looking strong here, so expect the likes of Cliffy, Maxi, etc. to be up there today instead of BigC, who will probably be fighting for kind of midfield points or so.
Yeah. Just a brief note, we had a few incidents last week, which we'll put down to a lack of practice in pre-season. Nick Pine got a 10-second penalty for his incident with Iran, which will be added to the end of his race time here tonight, so keep that in mind. And Remco has a similar 10-second penalty for one of his incidents with Jamie last week. So both of those drivers will have 10 seconds added on to the end of their race time, so just keep that in mind when you see them in their relevant positions. Unlike Australia, I'm not expecting too many penalties out there today. The only real section of the track where penalties you can possibly pick some up is probably turn 7 and 8, the sweeping right turns, because you can cut there and pick up a warning there. But outside of that, and maybe the fast section of 12-13 if you go too much to the right, I don't think we'll see anywhere near as many penalties this week. Would you agree with that, Louis?
Yeah, I'd agree. From what I've driven of this track, it's pretty difficult to get penalties, as if you do cut the track, you generally lose time, so there's no incentive for cutting the track. So yeah, not many penalties today, I assume.
Well, evening to Maxi and Joel, who've just left a quick comment in the chat, and Maxi's claiming he's going to bottle it. Well, if that's your attitude before the race, you probably will.
That is true.
So the tyre compounds for this track is the first race of the season where the medium compound is available. Super soft, medium, and of course intermediate and full wets, which might be needed given the unpredictable nature of the weather here. And good evening to you, Dale, Mr. Grumpy, who just joined the chat, and Game Freaker. So the 5.5 kilometre circuit, we will have 28 laps of this circuit after the usual 12-minute qualifying session. Unlike Australia, we should expect to see more overtaking here thanks to the 2 DRS zones from 14 to 15 and then onto the main home straight. So outside of the 2 DRS straights, are there any other areas of the track where you could see some overtakes tonight?
Well, down into the right-hander after the first kind of initial complex at the end of Sector 1, that's definitely an overtaking spot. Down the inside, not around the outside though, and into the hairpin, the left-hander just before the end of Sector 2, definitely also an overtaking spot at the inside. But apart from that, I can't really see many overtakes being pulled off anywhere else.
Well, a quick reminder of the championship standings. I mean, obviously, very early days. Still got another 13 rounds to go, including this one tonight. BigC leads on 16 points, with XJackLacey on 12, and AMS having a superb debut in F1 last week, finishing in 3rd. And then the Constructors' Championship, we have Ferrari leading the way with 20 points, with Red Bull and Force India on 15 points respectively. Not much point talking about the rest of the table at this point because it's very early days. Incidentally, Sauber, Williams and Toro Rosso will be looking for their first points in the championship this season, so they're hoping to get off the mark collectively, or at least one of their drivers tonight. So your thoughts on the Australian Grand Prix last week overall, apart from BigC's victory? What else caught your eye last week?
Well, it's hard to look past the debut performance from AMS, obviously really impressive. But you've got to look at kind of the bottles once again by Oogie, Greeny. We're seeing this quite often now, and they've got the pressure on now to perform because obviously Oogie's teammate Jack performed well last week, and Oogie's viewed as a very quick driver, so he'll need to get some results to settle the nerves down a bit. But those two kind of bad results definitely stood out from Australia, along with AMS's brilliant result.
Yes, I think if Pine hadn't got those penalties, I think he would have probably been my driver of the day, because his one-stop strategy starting on the soft seemed to work really well for him, but unfortunately those penalties sort of dropped him back down the order. And yes, Game Freak of the Frizzo video has got quite a few views. It's certainly brought out. I think Frizzo's taking it in good nature though. You know, he's going to go down as a PSGL legend for that moment, I'm sure, because it's just one of those things you just never thought you would see. I mean, I've been gaming over 20 years, and that's one of the funniest things I've ever seen. So that says a lot. Yes, but going back to your points about the Australian Grand Prix, I think there are some drivers out there, as you say, who have a point to prove tonight. And based on the practices, even I had a couple. I would be surprised if BigC has it his own way tonight.
Agreed. Yeah. There are definitely a lot more people who can challenge up there.
And of course, one thing we have to remember is that unlike Australia, the weather can be very unpredictable at this Malaysia track, so we may see our first wet running of the season in qualifying or the race. More likely in the race, because it seems that based on the practice races I've done, it has rained a lot, at least intermediate conditions. I haven't seen much full wet running in the practice races I've done, but quite a lot of intermediate conditions I've seen.
Yeah, it is a track where, you know, the tropical kind of monsoon conditions can kick in, and we've seen from BigC's AOR yesterday that he's not exactly a wet weather specialist. So, well, he retired yesterday at Spa in damp conditions, so he obviously, if it rains, he's going to have that in the back of his mind. You know, he's going to be a bit more cautious perhaps than usual. So, not a wet weather specialist. It'll play into the hands of the pad users, and the medium traction users as well. So it'll be interesting to see what the weather's like.
In terms of the pit strategy, the medium tyre is very slow for the one stop here, so we could see a bit more of a mixture than we saw in Australia, where one stop dominated the affair. What do you think of the strategy here based on the running you've done?
Well, I'm afraid to say it looks like it's going to be another simple one stop, even super soft to soft, judging by what I've heard from other people, which is a shame that it doesn't give much variance in strategy, but it is what it is with these new durable tyres. Yep,
and knowing Pirelli, it'll probably go to the complete opposite extreme, like F1 2016 for the new season. So hopefully not. I think more durable tyres, in my opinion, are better, because it means the drivers aren't just spending half the race saving tyres; they're pushing. So I think that was one of the good things about the real season this year.
For sure.
And we're going to just load up qualifying, and overcast. Now when the skies are dark like this, that often means that rain's quite imminent straight away in the session. So if we see a load of cars rushing out the pits, we'll know why.
Yeah, it is really dark. I can see from the view that I've got in the bottom left hand corner of the screen, you can see the hills in the background, and they're just covered with mist, so we could see, and low cloud as well, we could see some rain during the session or during the race.
Yeah, lots of drivers already rushing out. Looks like the only driver not here tonight is Josh. Yep. And incidentally, forgot to mention, HELLBOY was banned for the Australian Grand Prix, but he makes his F1 debut tonight for Mercedes, I believe.
Yeah, I have a feeling that rain is definitely imminent. You just see the train of cars flooding out of the pits, and it really is indicative of rain, because they're going to have to get their fastest lap in during the dry conditions as soon as possible.
Yeah, it's going to be very difficult to get space if everyone's coming out. And yeah, look at that huge queue of cars coming out of the pits. All the usual suspects. Oh, that is a queue on the M25 if ever I saw one.
Yeah, you don't usually see that many cars coming out at once in a fully dry session, so could well start raining anytime soon.
Yeah, I mean, based on playing the game, that's the kind of clouds you normally see just before it starts to rain. So
yeah.
Could be. I am going to find out what the weather for the race is, so bear with us. And evening to you, Simo, and onto the podium. Has not had a good day apparently, and wants Ash to crash out to cheer him up. So maybe Ash, if it rains enough, he will oblige with that wish, but hopefully not. hopefully everyone, oh, and I can already see some spots of rain coming down immediately.
Yeah,
the rain is
down.
whoever has got to the start first is going to have a huge advantage, assuming they put a clean lap in. So we could see a very mix-up grid, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, we've got the Renault of Joel, the Haas there, Skeevan first to start his lap. So that'll be Lordy, is it? No, that is Little, who's really starts his lap.
XJackLacey and fighting one of the Renaults for track position just to try and get ahead. So, and MaxiLuca's only just coming out for his out lap. Oh dear, he's the last one out. So I think he's going to be towards the back. Unfortunately, his qualifying woes continue. So I'm trying to get this. There you go. It took several clicks, but I couldn't get the lap data to appear. But now it is.
It is going to be crucial to just keep the lap valid. I mean, if you invalidate it, that is it, I'm afraid. That is back 2 rows. And there's a Haas in the wall. Little Blocks has crashed out in front of the experienced Joelianomanu.
Yes, well, I mean, obviously, far less grip. Super softs don't work very well in these transitional conditions. And, and Oogie's gone off as well, so that's his lap gone. Yeah. Obviously, most of the field invalidate. There is still a small chance of getting to the top 10. But I believe Joel is the first, should be the first out on track. So I'm going to keep an eye on him to see what his benchmark time is.
I've been on board with Joel throughout the whole of this lap, and it looks assured. It looks like what you'd expect from an experienced driver. He's hit the apexes. Not been the fastest of laps, but in these conditions you can't really fault him for that.
Yeah,
it looks like it's going to be pretty good.
Is that BigC behind Joel in the Ferrari? I'm not sure.
I think that's Jamie.
Okay. Switch to Jamie.
A lot of cars have gone off. Cliffy's gone off.
Skeevan crossed the line for 134, and Jamie goes second, 4 tenths back. Paudie puts into second, and let's see what Pine does next up. Pine in 5th, BigC rounding the final corner, really struggling for rear grip there. I'm not sure if he gets.
Yeah, the times are only going to get slower now, I'm afraid.
This could be
the order we see at the end.
XJackLacey might get a bit of slipstream from the Williams to help him go up the order a little bit. Greeny crashed as well, so that's 2 retirements in quali. So Iran in 10th. So I think the top 10 should be as it is now. So the rest of the fields, well, they compromise massively. MaxiLuca's 6th and 11th actually. So looks like there might have been a few invalidations. I'm just going to check that. Yes, loads of invalidations.
Improving now.
So Cliffy, Lordy Boy, and HELLBOY, and Ash Best. HELLBOY's invalidated twice.
Yeah, not good.
So that's going to be your grid, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, unless it dries up, which would be pretty extraordinary, this is going to be it.
I'm still trying to find out what the weather for the race is. And good evening to you, Frizzo, the man of the moment. I haven't mentioned it yet. I might do later. Just behave in the chat, and maybe I won't. and Double C Brain, hello to you. And Jake, good evening to you as well. Thanks for watching. Got 13 people watching this. That's pretty good.
Lovely. But yeah, DRS has been disabled now, so we won't be seeing any improvements. And this is an interesting grid because we have the likes of Jamie and Joel who don't usually qualify that high up. Paudie as well. I know Paudie is strong at this track, so he has a really good chance of a podium here. Go on. This is where you'd kind of expect BigC to qualify at Malaysia, and Nick and AMS likewise, but you've got the likes of Greeny who really underperformed here massively. And you can't afford these sort of moments.
Yeah, so we got wow, yes, I didn't realise it's a Toro Rosso 1-2, the front row. The team haven't scored any points this season, one of the 3, so I'd be delighted with that. Slightly unexpected, but this is the kind of thing that can happen when these sort of weather conditions. The last time a Toro Rosso front row lockout, Singapore last season. Yes. QPRBeasts. Yes, and so, the team has a history of locking out the front row. Does Toro Rosso, of course, the home of the reigning constructors champions last season, so those Italian boys will be delighted with that. So there was some sort of contact between Greeny and Little Blocks, but I think it was accidental.
Yeah, I don't think their collision sent either of them out of the session. It was a separate incident that made them get terminal damage. Just their own mistake, I think.
Yeah, I wonder if anyone's going to come out and get some inter practice in.
Yep, Ashbeth's out on track on the inters. He's not going to be... Well, I mean, he's going to... It's wise to come out, actually, because he's going to ensure that he's in P14.
Well, actually...
P12.
P12, yeah. So let's go on board with Ashbeth, see what the conditions are like out there. Paudie's opted not to bother, and why would he? He's in second place. And no one in the chat has opted to, in the F1 chat that is, tell me what the weather is, so we're in the dark as much as you guys. Rizzo's changed his chat name to something very interesting. A very fitting name.
Oh dear.
So let's watch Ashbeth. Much was promised of him in the pre-season. Plenty of rounds to go. So here you go. Goes through turn 7 and 8, and then very short straight down to turn 9. Very tricky corner turn 9 to get, because if you go on the track too early, you can really spin the wheels up and lose a lot of time here. Not that it's going to matter too much at this point. And apparently it's going to be a dry start for the race, but heavy rain later on. So we may have heavy rain by the end of the race, so we could see some mixed conditions, but the heavy rain is supposedly 45 minutes, so it's going to be touch and go, but knowing the game, it usually comes earlier. So Ashbeth heads down the penultimate straight to turn 15. Only 15 corners on this track. And a track that sadly won't be on the next F1 game, of course, because in real life it had its last race last year, in a superb Malaysian Grand Prix won by Max Verstappen, of course.
Yeah, we're seeing all the people who didn't set initial laps in the dry come out now.
No, I didn't say that at all, Little Blocks. So no way is getting that from. I said there was possibly a collision between Greeny and yourself. That's all I said. Yeah. I didn't apportion blame to anybody. I would never do that.
Don't worry. We know that it could well be Greeny with his track record of incidents. It doesn't matter, Nickel.
Controversial.
Only the truth. Nah. Yeah. So yeah, everyone's fighting for P12 now in the... Sorry, what are you about to say?
It doesn't matter.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, let's go a few... Guess this is valuable track time in terms of the inter conditions, for which we may get later in the race. But it looks like most of the top 10 opting to stay in the pits. Now the interesting thing is, if it's a dry start, those who didn't set a time on the dry tyres, they'll get a fresh tyre choice, of course, whereas the guys on the... Whoa, and the JD sliding into turn 14. So we have 18 runners for tonight.
Yeah, it's quite interesting that Skeevan decided to go out. It shows he's not resting on his laurels, you know. I mean, he's determined to do everything he can, get all the running in, understand the conditions, because the race obviously could turn into heavy wet conditions.
Yeah,
but, good to see, good mentality.
Absolutely. There are a couple of sections of this track which are extremely hazardous when the conditions are like this.
Yeah.
I think the trickiest one that I find would be turns 12 and 13, just before the end of the lap in the wet. Very tricky to judge that. Yeah. If you take too much speed, you just literally aquaplane off the circuit.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. It's a difficult place, especially when you've got a bit of an understeery car. It just Yeah, it's difficult, I'm afraid. Well, understeer or oversteer through that section, as Skeevan demonstrates as he just oversteers off the track. Proving the point perfectly, actually. Thanks for that, Skeevan.
Well, from the camera angle I had, it looked like Skeevan just missiled off the road, but luckily he got it slowed down. He's had enough of that. And Cliffy, incidentally, actually gained a place at the expense of HELLBOY. Got faster time on the Inters, so he's moved up to row 6, just behind MaxiLuca.
Yeah, that's actually quite important for him because he's a driver who's really quick here, so gives himself a better chance of getting a good result out of this race. Right, I'm just going to go for a minute. I'll be right back.
Sure. Now, I've noticed that JD qualified on the soft tyres, so that could play into his hand strategy-wise if we get rain sort of halfway through the race rather than early on. So he could be in a really good position if he keeps it clean when everyone else has to pit on the super softs. Not because they want to, but simply because they'll run out of life on those super soft tyres. So JD's one to watch out for. Oh, and there's a McLaren on the straight. Is that? Yeah, HELLBOY has gone off on the home straight. Doing a frizzo, but without totaling the car. First mention of it of the day. We'll keep it to a minimum. And that's the end of qualifying there, folks, for the Malaysian Grand Prix, the PSGL F1 division. 14 people watching, thank you very much. Leave your comments and your prediction for the race. So, Skeevan and Paudie complete a Toro Rosso 1-2. Jamie in 3rd, that's a very good position for the reign champ to be in. Joel in 4th, AMS in 5th, Pine in 6th, BigC, last week's race winner in 7th, XJackLacey in 8th, JD in 9th on the soft tyres, Aaron in 10th, MaxiLuca and Cliffy make up row 6, HELLBOY, Oogie, HELLBOY, Naughty Boy, Little Box and Greeny make up the grid. And this is one of the things I do love about these mixed conditions. You always get a mixed up grid if it happens in qualifying, like this. XJackLacey was 2nd at Australia, Frizzo. So it's a bright, sunny day to start this race, but we may see some race at the end. But this is going to be one interesting start. The likes of Skeevan and Paudie, not used to being at the front of the grid. How will they deal with that pressure? Toro Rosso management will be hoping they get through the first corner unscathed. But watch out for Jamie, especially later on in the race, but he can be a very good starter. And under 30 seconds to go before the start of this 28 lap race of this 5.5 kilometre Sepang International Circuit. Quite possibly one of the last times we'll see it. Hasn't been run that many times in PSGL history, incidentally. BigC, a 2-time winner of this race in the history of this division. Jamie, also a winner of this race. The last person to win this race back in season 16, Ali K.
So, I remember that. It was an interchangeable conditions race.
So we have the 5 red lights. Watch for Toro Rossos and the Ferrari behind. Bit of a delay and lights out and away we go. Good start from Skeevan, his teammate slots behind, and a very good start from Jamie trying to get the slipstream on Toro Rossos, but it's Toro Rosso 1-2 to enter turn 1 for the first time. In behind,
Greeny got a drive-through penalty at the start, I just wanted to say.
Oh, he jumped the start, oh dear, terrible start for him. So, top 4 rather, as you were, AMS in 5th, XJackLacey in 6th. So yeah, I think the top 7 has pretty much changed as it is. Bit of movement behind though. We see AMS being challenged on the outside by XJackLacey. And JD up to 4th, and look at that. BigC having a look at XJackLacey immediately. And JD nearly touching the back of BigC. So let's go back to the front. Skeevan pulling out a little gap from Paudie already. Jamie having a little look at the Toro Rosso of Paudie immediately. I think Paudie may create a little train because I think Skeevan has a pace advantage over his teammate from what I've seen. Now XJackLacey looking at the back of AMS. Quite a clean start though, Louis, unlike last week.
Yeah, it's been a really impressive start. Everyone's managed to keep it clean without anyone going off, and everyone is within a second of each other, so it's a good start for the action, that is for sure.
Yeah, XJackLacey making probably the best start in the top 10. He took 2 positions. Oh, he's gone for a lunge down the inside of AMS. Wow. And that was late, but very fair. Very good move. AMS, though, will try and come back at him. But AMS caught off guard a little bit. Will AMS go for a move back down the inside? Always looking for it. Yeah, and unfortunately, XJackLacey missed the apex, and but he'll have the inside for 2. So there'll be a.
Sorry, MaxiLuca has lost a bit of his front wing.
Unfortunate for him. So AMS now under pressure from BigC. AMS having a little look at XJackLacey ahead. Superb action from these 3. The podium from last week. Aaron, the veteran.
Up the inside. Oh, just about has to back out there. AMS defends pretty well.
Yep, and Aaron keeping a watching brief just behind, and Greeny's had to pit for the drive-through, of course, so that's put him well down the order. But he could come back later if we get rain later on. He's going down the order a little bit. Pine has moved up to 10th. Any other action we can see? Yes, Ashbest under pressure from MaxiLuca. Oh, MaxiLuca's car twitching a little bit. Will that give the Haas of LadyBoy a chance? LadyBoy, MaxiLuca and Little Blocks had a furious battle for the final points positions last week, and they're once again in this little group of cars. Going to switch back in a second. Ooh, and LadyBoy getting very close. We might see some overtakes between them. Now, is BigC any closer to the back of that Red Bull of AMS? No, he's not. And slight speed advantage seems on that Red Bull for the wing setup.
Joel is going to be on the back of Jamie here. Well, he is on the back. He might be attacking into turn 1 if he can make a lunge.
He's gone for a lunge. It's aggressive, but Jamie will have the inside for 2.
But controlled. He's still on the outside.
Yeah, Jamie.
Defending by Jamie.
Yeah, he squeezes him out. Nicely done by Jamie. But Joel looks like he's got a bit more in the tank at the moment. He's looking for a move on the outside. But he's going to
get a bit of
go for the switchback. Yes, he was. And we saw Jamie struggling with the wheel ahead, trying to hold on to this third position.
Joel's definitely got more pace here. He just gets a really bad run through that corner, and that's going to allow Jack right back onto him. Yeah, it's a tricky one there for Joel because Jamie's defended really well against him.
Yeah, so the top 9 sort of getting away now. HELLBOY sort of holding up the likes of Ashbest and Pine Spot. Jack down to 12. He was in 10th earlier, but he's dropped a couple of places. So your race order: Skeevan and Paudie in the Toro Rosso at maintain position. Jamie in 3rd, under pressure from Joel, but has dropped back in the last couple of sectors. So now with the DRS enabled for the first time, will XJackLacey might go for another sort of move here. It was a superb move on AMS and an important one for his race, and he's getting closer. The Renault goes slightly defensive. We didn't have to be too severe because I don't think XJackLacey was close enough for turn 15, but will he be close enough for turn 1 as we start the beginning of lap 4? And XJackLacey's definitely got more speed with the DRS. He's going to have to take it around the outside and try and keep going alongside and take and slight contact. The hand goes up from XJackLacey, but hard but fair racing here. And XJackLacey will squeeze out Joel and moves up to 4th. Brilliant stuff from XJackLacey. He's hunting another podium today. Can Joel come back at him, or will he be under attack from the fellow Renault powered car of AMS?
Wow. Jamie's overtaken Paudie, and
Paudie's disconnected. What a shame.
Jamie is lagging quite a lot as well, just on board with him. I mean, I'm not sure what's going on in this lobby, but it seems to have gained some lag. Interesting.
Yeah, it seems to be certain cars. But that could have been caused by that disconnection though. But yeah, what a shame Paudie's connections dropped. He was in such superb position. Skeevan's got a 3-second advantage to Jamie at the moment. But that Ferrari of Jamie, he's going to have to watch his mirror soon, because XJackLacey, as someone else mentioned on the chat, is on a mission clearly for another podium, perhaps even better. Let's go down the order slightly. Joel now under attack from AMS. BigC
is Nick for P13. Sorry about that. That's going to be a DRS move possibly here. Cliffy up the inside into the final corner. It's going to be pretty simple against Nick, who lacks part of his front wing.
Oh yes.
And who pulls into the pit.
Yeah, goes into the pits. AMS unable to get past the Renault for now. So the battle between XJackLacey. and Jamie is something we will keep an eye on. Aaron in just sort of going about his business, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. He's doing what Aaron does best, just driving under the radar and in a pretty good position on for 4 points. Back up his pretty good haul of 2 points from last week, so it's going well. And Joel up and forth, the Renault's having a good race. And to be fair to Joel, until, well, just then, he was within half a second of Jack. I don't know what happened through turn 4.
Yeah, and Joel going slightly wide as we head towards 7 and 8. He runs slightly wide again. Will this give AMS a chance for a dive down the inside at turn 9? Joel going very defensive straight away as he has to. Oh, and he switches back. Oh, I think. And BigC now trying to squeeze by. Fast and furious stuff.
Yep. The move wasn't quite on there for BigC. I think he just got a little bit squeezed by AMS onto the curb, which lost him a little bit of momentum. Yeah,
BigC's got to be careful because he's got Aaron right behind him, and he knows a thing or two about an overtake. But once again, the Renault of Joel struggling for traction. It's Supersoft seemingly going off the boil already. Paudie's rejoined, hoping he can regain control of his car, but desperately rotten luck for him. He was in superb qualifying thanks to that mixed weather, and he was actually going rather nicely in the early laps. So can AMS? No, it seems like Joel's Renault has really good straight line speed, so obviously running lower wings. But oh, Joel's gone really deep into one. AMS gets ever closer. XJackLacey establishing a 2-second gap ahead of Joel, so Joel holding up the likes of AMS, BigC and Aaron up at the moment.
Ooh, the Williams of JD almost runs into the back of Aaron. I think he's lost a bit of his wing there. Yeah, he's lost a bit of his wing on Aaron. He went a bit deep into turn 4 and Aaron's
yeah, he has lost some of his end plates, and that's a shame because he was in a really good position with the soft tyres. And BigC runs off the track completely, looking for a move on AMS. Will he go for it? And yes, he does. Locks the tyres. He goes deep. Will that allow AMS to get back in front? Or will he just about get away with it? AMS looking back around the outside, but BigC will keep the position, so he moves up to 5th, the Ferrari driver.
Yeah, Aaron's now on the back of AMS, so he could get him in the next DRS zone if he has a bit of straight line speed up his back pocket. We'll see.
Yeah, but AMS could come back at BigC if he's got straight line speed, so definitely something to keep. We'll go on board with Aaron just to see if there's any movement in front of him. No, as you were. Now BigC will be the next person to have a go at Joel, who's been rather holding these guys up. Oh, Aaron into the pits. He's had enough of the super softs already.
Yeah, looking for an undercut then. He's not got a broken wing, so yeah, he's just genuinely going for the undercut. I think he's on the one stop. He's probably going for mediums, which is an interesting call.
Yeah, let's have a look.
We'll see.
Aaron pulling in. Let's see what he goes on to. This is an early pit stop. Yeah, soft tyres. They'll go quite a long time, so maybe he's been checking the weather, trying to get...
Possibly. They might go to the end. I'm not sure. I think they could. And Aaron's quite good on his tyres, so I think possibly be able to take it to the end.
Yeah, and there's no real, and as you can see, lovely blue skies at the moment above the Sepang circuit, so no sign of rain at the moment, so this is obviously a strategy call he's made. So BigC onto the back of Joel, as we would expect. Again, Joel's been sort of a tricky customer to get past so far. XJackLacey did it with a superb move into the final corner, and that's probably what BigC will have to do to get past this irritating to him yellow and black V in front of him.
Yeah, BigC and Joel have a lot of respect for each other though, so I don't think they'll go at it too hard, so we'll see how difficult Joel makes it. He does pull to the inside, so he's not just going to let him have the inside line.
No, fighting for position, and Joel pulls into the pits.
Very nice pit entry anyway, that was looking very slick from what I saw.
Yeah, it did.
Aaron, he managed to get on the grass off the entry.
Yeah, well, perhaps he saw...
Cliffy make a move on HELLBOY on the straight, sorry to butt in,
no,
but
perfect timing.
Just about makes that move. Nice little move up the inside. And Cliffy is recovering positions now after a poor qualifying.
Yeah, well, he was in the wrong place at the wrong time. Let's see. I just want to see what Joel's pitted onto. If I can select him. So Joel's come out onto the softs. So where did Aaron? Yeah, Aaron managed to get quite close to Joel. So yeah, the undercut is definitely on. So some of those guys like BigC, AMS, they may have to think about a pit stop. Now, meanwhile, in third position, XJackLacey is within DRS range of Jamie, who's himself 3.3 seconds behind Skeevan. We haven't seen much of Skeevan because there's been so much going on, but he's doing a nice job so far.
Yeah, he's been doing well. Just cool, calm and collected, really. I don't think he's got any penalties or warnings yet. No one's got a penalty, so
yeah,
he's done well so far. Been impressed.
Yeah, well, Skeevan last week was caught up in quite a few incidents, most of which were not his own doing. Then he got wing damage, he had to make a pit stop. So I don't think we saw the best of Skeevan last week, but he's really showing that so far that pole position wasn't just because of the mixed conditions. He's got the pace to stay out in front.
Yeah, he definitely has. Some of the best times I've heard of or seen were done by him.
Let's see if BigC and AMS keep going for now.
Jamie pits.
Indeed, he does. Yeah, Skeevan pits. Let's see what Skeevan goes for. The then race leader. He comes in for those, and Jamie has come in for, looks like, softs. Although it keeps graphically switching between the two, so who knows?
Yeah.
So XJackLacey for now takes the lead of this PSGL Malaysian Grand Prix on lap 9 of 28 of this 5.5 kilometer circuit, and we hope you're all enjoying it so far. It's been a lot of frenetic action. AMS, to his credit, is keeping BigC honest. It's not as if BigC's pulled miles away from him since getting that overtake done. And incidentally, Asbest is closing to the back of them, so this could be interesting. Asbest started outside the top 10, of course, after qualifying on the soft tyres. So he's going to have a tyre advantage at this point compared to those two super soft runners in front of him.
Yeah, he definitely does. He'll be able to try and overcut if he wants to. I'm not sure how effective that'll be.
No, and Cliffy's up to 5th and HELLBOY up to 6th. Of course, most of these guys haven't pitted yet. We've had 8 drivers out of the field so far have pitted. And so Greeny got a drive-through penalty, didn't he, at the start, jump start?
Yes. Yep. He hasn't even pitted yet.
Yeah.
I don't think.
You don't see that. Oh, and looks like BigC pits. BigC pits, and XJackLacey does as well.
Aha.
Oh, and BigC gets a 5-second stop and go. And if he has to pit again because of rain, which we may see later in the race, he's going to sit there for 5 seconds. Last week race winner. What a disaster. So XJackLacey comes out on soft tyres. Skeevan retakes the net lead, as it were. But that means BigC, he will drop behind. Oh, it's going to be close between BigC and Joel.
Wow. Even Aaron gets ahead.
Yeah, the two Renaults. Well, Joel was already ahead of BigC, but Aaron has undercut BigC. So that's not something he wanted to see. Lots of respect between those two multi-champions, but Aaron is a tough customer to get past. So Asbest leads this race for now.
Yeah, Aaron definitely is a tough customer to get past. You see people, when they're behind them, have a tendency to break wings. We saw JD earlier in the race and Greeny last week break his wing on the back of Aaron and spin out. So, yeah, he's definitely someone you've got to be careful behind. He can throw a few tricks in. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see how BigC do.
Now AMS may have stayed out a lap too long. Oh, and Asbest nearly losing the car out of 14, but I think AMS may have stayed out a lap too long because he's lost the place to Asbest, the lead of this race. And I expect he'll be pulling into the pits right now rather than going for an overtake. And Cliffy, look, Cliffy is right there behind Asbest as well. So those two, no, AMS continues to stay out. I don't see the value of staying out this long.
No.
The rain is not coming anytime soon. He's going to be losing bags of time squabbling like this.
The only thing he's going to get is more leniency to push on the softs, but really I don't think that's much. It's not worth losing positions for.
And Skeevan sets the fastest lap of the race, and yes, Frizzo suggested he could be going a super soft which is a possibility. I could only see that's the reason he's staying out. You have mighty pace, but he won't have track position, that is for sure.
Yeah, I'm seeing a train now from 11th to 14th of very experienced drivers. Interesting.
Yeah, well, Greeny obviously had the drive through in the Sauber, hasn't pitted yet. So he's going to have Joel, Aaron, BigC, and MaxiLuca. Well, MaxiLuca, I think, was coming back onto the track just then. Ryan in 16, JD in 17. Paudie has regained control of his car, but unfortunately his race is done, unfortunately. But he'll keep going, because as we saw last week, lots of retirements. And that could be... So, Cliffy now putting AMS under pressure. It's a superb recovery from Cliffy, just as he had to do last week. I think he'll be hoping at some point he'll be able to qualify front. AMS looking for a move down the inside. Mercedes versus Red Bull. It should be a simple move, much fresher tyres, and I think AMS pulls into the bits finally on lap 11. But let's see what he does. If he's coming in for the softs, then I think he certainly sailed up too long. But if it's super softs, it's a different strategy.
Lordy is on the back of Hellboy and about to make a move on the main straight for P3. Up the inside goes Lordy Boy on the braking. He doesn't go for it. That is surprising.
Yeah, perhaps
he's usually an aggressive driver.
Yeah, perhaps he wasn't quite confident in getting the move done, or maybe Hellboy's reputation didn't want to get into, didn't trust him to leave the gap. But
very true. Very true.
But Oogie is someone we haven't talked about much. He's on the medium tyres, so he's looking for a long stint. Has he pitted? No, Oogie hasn't pitted, but if he can get those tyres a long way, who knows? If the rain comes soon enough for him, he could be in a really good position all of a sudden, starting from the back. Although Oogie runs slightly wide. So let's have a look.
AMS is on another set of supers.
As some in the chat suspected, so very interested to see what his pace is like, although he's dropped behind BigC and Aaron because of that.
And he's a long way behind as well.
Yeah, nearly 5 seconds behind.
Yeah, I'm not sure why he's gone to another set of supers, maybe just anticipating the rain. But
well,
you can't really do that on this game.
Well, it's a gamble. If it pays off, he will be able to get past those cars, but if he gets it wrong, he'll have to pit again before... Oogie
now making a move on Oogie, yeah, you can see that.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Lordy Boy must have gone off somewhere to drop behind Oogie again. And Hellboy peels off into the pits, so seeing more and more pit stops. Oogie going very defensive, about as defensive as you can be on this main straight. Can Lordy Boy do anything about it? He has a look on the inside. He had a thought about it, but look at this. Skeevan rapidly catching these two. His race pace has been absolutely immense so far.
Yeah, he's been great, but once again, Jamie on the supers. I mean, did he start? I'm pretty sure he started on supers, so I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, well, honestly, Jamie's got a 6-sounding gearbox, but I think that's just a glitch, not thankfully. But Greeny's lost position to Joel, and now he's going to be under attack from the other Renault. So Greeny's going to be on very old tyre, 13-lap old soft tyres now. So he's probably not going to have much to fight with against the likes of Aaron and BigC behind him. That's 10 World Championships worth right behind him.
Exactly. You've got to be feeling some pressure if that's the case. But Greeny will remember what Aaron did to he claimed he did to him last week, that Aaron brake checked him apparently through the chicane in Australia, so he's going to remember that, have it in the back of his mind, and perhaps defend harder than he usually would against Aaron.
Switching back to Skeevan. Oh, Skeevan's chipped off a bit of his wing. Oh, he didn't need to fight this hard. Oh, has he just cost himself potential win here? He didn't really need to fight Lordy Boy that hard, especially for that section. You're never going to overtake there. And I think Skeevan, yeah, struggling for downwards, does the switch back, and he's lost it. Oh, he's lost it, and that allows Jamie to take the net. Oh, they're going to be side by side. No, for a second they were, but now Jamie is effectively the net leader of this race, and Skeevan, having looked so good from the start, in the space of a couple of corners, has seen the race turn badly against him.
The thing is, net race leader, XJackLacey, because Jamie obviously has to pit again, so...
Yes, You are right.
Very interesting sort of scenario we've got here.
Greeny defending for his life, and actually pretty effectively from Iran. It's forced Iran to go back, so yeah, good defending from Greeny, and that may allow BigC to look for a move down into the next end of sector 2, and Iran defending extremely aggressively. BigC sort of saw it coming and locked his tyres, but he avoided a calamitous crash. Skeevan has caught up to the back, and so is XJackLacey. So XJackLacey, you are right, he's on. I think the soft tyres are the best tyre to be on right now, if you were starting in the top 10. But there's so many battles going on, just want to keep an eye on all of them. But the battle between Greeny, Iran and BigC could be really tasty, so I want to go back to that in a second. But XJackLacey, with a undamaged wing, he'll have a huge advantage over Skeevan, you would think.
Yeah, I'll tell you what though, I think we've got a net first XJackLacey, second Joelianomanu, and third Iran. So, wow, this is a pretty crazy race so far.
Look at AMS on the super softs. He is rapidly caught up to the back of this group, so don't discount him. Still think the rain will play a factor later on, and Iran dives down the inside of Greeny and gets it done. Now can BigC?
Not quite though.
I'm going to keep on board with BigC to get the perfect view of the two cars ahead. Behind him, no, AMS isn't right there yet. Greeny, and Greeny maintains place. BigC has to lock his tyres again to avoid any contact with the Renault in front, and Greeny maintains the place. Fair play to him.
Yeah, he does. XJackLacey's making a move on Skeevan.
Yeah.
Up the inside.
Switch back just in time to see it. XJackLacey, they're going side by side. Oh, he maintains it, and he does it. And that's the difference an undamaged wing can make. And Skeevan, well, he must be kicking himself right now if he can possibly do that.
Net race lead, XJackLacey.
Yeah, but XJackLacey's got to get past LadyBoy and hope he doesn't have a calamity like Skeevan had.
Yeah, exactly.
Greeny is holding up BigC, AMS.
BigC going for a move on Iran perhaps. Weaves around in the braking zone. However, that lets AMS up the inside. So AMS, who has to pit again, almost gets moved on.
Well, AMS has to clear these three cars as quick as possible if he's got any chance of reaching the podium, in my opinion.
Oh yeah, agreed. And to be honest with you, I don't think, unless the rain comes incredibly soon, I don't think he's really got a chance.
Well, we are. The clear skies have gone though. The cloud is starting to roll in, so we might see some rain sooner than you think. Lap 16 of this race. Ashbeth leads it. Right. Cliffy is finally pitted from second position.
Fighting Jack.
Iran trying to close the gap, but Greeny, straight line speed pretty good. Good exit out of turn 15. Not under threat this time. Now Skeevan onto the back of LadyBoy, trying to get past him again this time. Hopefully doesn't chip off any more of his wing, otherwise definitely will be curtains for him.
Yeah, it's interesting seeing how Iran's struggling to get past Greeny. Oh, AMS looks at the inside of BigC. That was pretty close. Yeah. Skeevan's on the back of Lordy now. Pretty close to try and move.
Yeah, Simo and Walker are right in saying that likes of AMS will have to use a different compound, but the super sauce won't last to the end anyway, so if it doesn't rain... Oh, BigC dives down the inside of Iran, or at least tries to. But no, Iran just has the better traction out of turn 9 to keep ahead. And Greeny's actually starting to get away from this group again. Yeah, Game Freaker mentioned it. No retirements so far. I think we had at least 5 or 6 at this halfway stage last week, but it was a completely different race. But it's been overall a very hard fought but fair race. I've not seen anything untoward so far. And MaxiLuca gets his customary penalty.
Yep.
Don't think I've ever seen him race and not get one. I think it's fair to say if PSGL ran the Indy 500, MaxiLuca would still get a time penalty somehow for cutting a corner.
Agreed.
So Skeevan finally disposed of LadyBoy in the way he probably wished he would have done. XJackLacey 3.4 seconds ahead of Skeevan, now rapidly closing onto the back of Oogie, who has been overtaken by Jamie. Oogie's trying to get it to the rain. He'll be desperate for it to come sooner or later, but he probably won't give his Force India teammate too much trouble. But to be fair, with his 17-lap-old medium tyres, I don't think he'll have any choice in the matter.
Yeah, it's really interesting how this is panning out, because Jamie's actually getting a gap, well, a slight gap back, but not enough yet. But he's got the pace on the supers. Ash is in a pretty good position actually. I'll quick to calculate where he's going to come out.
BigC having another look at Iran, but Greeny continuing to hold them up. The gap between Greeny and Joel now nearly, well, over 3 seconds. So Joel, I mean, looking behind, looking behind Greeny, he's got so many cars in his mirrors. He's doing an amazing job to keep it going, keep ahead of these guys. Much fresher tyres after all.
Surely going to get overtaken here. Iran's got a great run on him.
A great exit alongside.
Pulls out the slipstream really early on.
Yeah, so he's got more. Oh, the rain's coming.
It's raining.
All of a sudden, the rain's coming. Oogie's in a great position then. The rain's coming.
Oh, BigC hits Greeny a bit, I think. And
yeah.
BigC's dropped behind Cliffy.
Wait, and who's that? Cliffy out of nowhere on the super softs.
Oh my god.
I didn't even see him coming through the field, but he's up to 10th.
Look who's second. Joelianomanu. He's going to be pitting onto the Inters. He's going to be laughing right now.
Yes, and Greeny, his tyres are finally given up. Greeny goes deep, loses positions to BigC and Cliffy, but Cliffy up to 9th, and that's a crucial moment. BigC making a mistake, and that's allowed Cliffy to move up to 9th.
No way, this is crazy. Ash Best.
Yeah, Ash Best is...
Oh, he's got a puncture. I'm not sure. Right, sorry about that, but I think...
wait a minute.
No, I don't...
He's going very slowly.
I can't really tell. I think it's just him running slowly, if I'm honest with you.
Yeah, well, the rain, it's 70, I think it's, well, into conditions almost immediately.
Next lap, I reckon. His DRS hasn't been disabled, but this just is crazy. Because if it was a full dry race, Joel, it would have been a Jack, Joel, and Skeevan podium. Now it's gone from Ash, Jack, Jamie, and Jack.
Yeah, but Ash Best, Oogie, Lordy Boy, and Greeny haven't pitted yet. But Greeny, obviously, unfortunately, just couldn't keep his tyres going.
Ash Bits for the Inters, presumably. His drives at this point
and
would be crazy.
It's Jamie, Jamie coming in. Look at that, XJackLacey trying to get in front of Jamie in the pits.
It's a bit close.
Let's see, well, surely it's Inters, and we're going to see an absolute gaggle pit activity now. Look how close the Force India of XJackLacey was to Jamie. It's going to be a battle in the pit lane.
Oh, Joel overtakes Lordy into the pits. Joel gets 6th into the pit. Beautiful. And Iran and Cliffy are going side by side in the pits.
Bit of glitching there.
Oh my god.
Ash Best comes out of the pits.
BigC's got to serve the stop go. BigC has got to serve
he's going to drop miles down the order thanks to that. XJackLacey right behind Jamie. But Jamie, as we know in the past, a wet weather specialist. So Ash Best, he's got to keep it on the track, but he's looking good for his first PSGL F1 victory. Simply because he didn't pit
in to stack with Joel.
He is indeed. So Iran not being able to get past Greeny for so long, and Joel getting past Greeny, that's probably really compromised his race. Greeny has come out in front of Iran despite all that because of the stacking. So Greeny in a good position. Everyone in the pit lane now. BigC's come out in 12th position, so he's got some work to do. MaxiLuca. So Greeny had a drive through for a jump start, somehow finds himself in the points. This is what these mixed conditions can do. 6.6 second gap between Ash Best. Let's keep an eye on him, see how he's doing. He's heading up towards turn 9 at the moment. But if he can just keep it on the track, I'm not really seeing Ash Best running in the wet. We know he's quick in the dry, but I'm not seeing him race in the wet before. So I'm not sure what his pace is like in these sort of conditions, but if he can just, he's got enough of a gap, he can even lose like half a second a lap and he'll win the race.
Skeevan's front, repairs front wing, so
yeah, and he's still in 4th, but it's a long way. The top 3, very long way ahead of Skeevan, who will be ruining that mistake a lot. Joel in 5th, Lordy Boy in 6th, Cliffy in 7th. So this looks like the first sort of battle after the really shaken up order, just as the qualifying was. And in terms of the championship, the big winner is clearly Jamie and XJackLacey after all this chaos. And last week's race winner BigC is going to find a real struggle to get into the points. He's got to get past Oogie first. So let's see what Cliffy can do up against Lordy Boy. Finding their feet on these intermediate tyres. The rain coming down harder. And HELLBOY is out of the race. Is that a crash? Yes, it is. He's lost it. Looks like turns 12, 13. That section I mentioned in qualifying, which can be very tricky in these conditions. So Cliffy now. So after 20 laps, we finally had our first retirement.
Hey, celebration.
Given how intense the rain is already falling, we might see some full wet conditions. Now Cliffy looking for a move down on Lordy Boy. Oh, and they touch. Lordy Boy squeezing him a little bit, but he runs wide, and Cliffy should easily get that done with the superior traction of the tarmac. But very gingerly going through this section of corners. Let's see what else is going on. Greeny is now, I think Lordy Boy is probably going to tumble down the field if that's his wet weather pace. BigC on the back of Oogie, and that's probably... Oh, and he's got MaxiLuca and AMS right back. Oh, MaxiLuca's just slammed into the back of BigC. I think he's just damaged his wing. Yeah, part of his end plate on the right gone. Just caught it. So another race to forget for the Mercedes driver by the looks of it. And he's run wide, and AMS chuck it down the inside, trying to move up to 12th position, but MaxiLuca keeps in front for now. And I'm going to switch back to xJackLacey because he's caught onto the back of Jamie.
Wow, that is a surprise.
So he's really good wet weather pace from xJackLacey compared to Jamie anyway, but Ashbest has lost about half a second, but he can afford to, lap 21. But if xJackLacey gets past Jamie, I wonder what xJackLacey's pace will be in clear air. Chase after Ashbest. We shall see. Going to keep on this battle. Force India versus Ferrari. And there Jamie just sticking the car where he needs to. Ashbest literally just needs to keep on the track at this point by the looks of it. But he's on course for his first PSGL F1 win. And our second different winner from 2 races. So it's... Can we beat the 7 that we got last season? We have more races to do it. Any advice I give to Ashbest is don't swerve on the start-finish line. Otherwise you might come a cropper like certain F3 drivers have done in the past. So xJackLacey challenging Jamie. Oh, the car twitches to the right. For Jamie's really struggling with rear grip.
Greeny's overtaken Lordy, but they both go off track and lose a good 2 seconds, and that's going to allow it in battle. And Greeny lets Lordy through, so it's clearly a bit of an illegal move there by Greeny.
Fair play to him.
Yeah, I know, that's how you should resolve it, on track. Good stuff.
Yeah,
and it's showing Greeny
we get
to
a
be
helicopter view perfectly as we see xJackLacey closing onto the back of the Ferrari.
Wow, that's some serious slipstream.
Oh, will he get? He's going to try and sticking on the outside. It's hard enough in the dry. Oh, he tries to get switched back. Tag on the back of the Ferrari by xJackLacey. Hopefully that hasn't damaged his wing. No, hasn't damaged it. Thankfully.
xJackLacey will be able to brake a little bit later, as he uses ABS. So Jamie's definitely going to be under threat, under pressure into the braking zones.
Agreed. So we're going to keep on board this battle. I am going to see what's going on between Joel and Cliffy in a moment, because they're very close on track. And Greeny close to the back of Lordy Boy as well. But this is the main battle for what is likely to be second position, unless Ashbest crashes, to be frankly honest, because I don't think there's enough laps for xJackLacey, even if he passes now, to get up to Ashbest. Ashbest doesn't really need to show superb pace, because thanks to the way it's all figured out, and he never pitted, he's ended up. And JD out of the race. Oh, he had such a good... He was in a good position after qualifying. Just going to see what happened to him, if I can switch to him. And he has lost control of the car. Oh, that's turn 4.
That's a weird place to crash.
Well, when you come out of free, when you go on the gas, it is easy to sort of swerve and lose the car,
Yeah,
but
true,
not into the corner usually, but before it. So Jack Lacey, lap 22, heading towards turn 15 once again, but Jamie just about keeping ahead of that Force India. So we've had 2 timeouts, 6.
We're really close to each other.
Jamie's got slightly more straight line speed by the looks of it. No DRS, of course, to help Jack Lacey get through. And Cliffy's lost the place to Joel.
Yeah, so this could be an intense battle here.
Yeah, Cliffy trying to get back past for 5th position. Braking later than Joel, and can he squeeze it around the outside? It just doesn't have the traction in these conditions. In the dry, that sort of move is possible, but much more trickier to do in these conditions. So Cliffy in 6th position, and Greeny even close. It says on my screen Greeny's got super softs. Obviously he hasn't. Obviously on Inters. He's under attack from Iran now as well. So the battle for every position in the points, except the one that matters the most, the lead, likely going down to the end of the race. Skeevan, of course, is well clear of Joel, nowhere near Jack Lacey. So, but 4th position will still be a good haul of points for Skeevan. He could have had more, may have even had the race win if he hadn't have had that instant where he broke swing and span off at the final corner.
Right on the back of the road, possibly going to send out the inside, a little bit too far back.
AMS, well, his double super soft strategy didn't pay off, unfortunately. It could have done if the rain had stayed off a bit longer, but he's outside of the points, so he won't be getting a repeat podium unless something absolutely incredible happens. But Jamie getting a little gap ahead of Jack Lacey now, so has Jamie sort of seen off the challenge of the Force India. Still another 5 laps to go, including this one. Lap 24, PSGL F1 Grand Prix. Thank you very much for all the people watching, commenting. It's been a pretty frenetic race. I did say there'd be more overtaking of this track, and it hasn't disappointed.
Lordy has got a massive train behind him. I've got about 7 cars in my shot there. We've got about 8 cars or so within a second of each other.
Well, Lordy, it is a big train. And Greeny will try once again to get past him. He's trying to do that same move. Cliffy couldn't do it. Oh, he's got the gap though this time for 2, and he gets past. Who's got the better traction coming out? Lordy Boy's going to try and take around the outside. He's got, they touch, and that's going to allow Iran to take him down the inside. I think Lordy Boy was trying to put it around the outside, but I don't think he could get it done. Very difficult.
Lordy tries to hang around the outside of Iran, but he's squeezed off a little bit.
Yeah. Now he's going to be under threat from the likes of Oogie and BigC, who's still trying to get back into the points.
Yeah.
Cliffy ever closer to Joel for the battle for 5th. But I just get the feeling something's going to happen in this group somewhere.
Superb defending by Joel. Really, really good. Using all of his experience to
yeah, and Cliffy, it's a really good recovery again. If he can get 5th position. Oh, the back end. Oh, he's going to be under serious threat now. He's going to have to go very defensive immediately. Struggling with the back end. The rain is really coming down now. It's probably more or less heavy conditions now.
Yeah, I think we've got monsoon conditions because you can on this game get monsoon conditions where the rain just does pile down.
Yeah, but I mean, on my screen it's like a mist. It's a complete monsoon. I think it's heavy rain conditions now, but they can't pit because there's no point. You'll lose too much time. You just got to stick it out.
BigC is attempting move on Oogie round the outside into turn 1. Let's see what happens here.
Oogie's
doesn't manage to defend.
He'll make it fair, but BigC better on the brakes, and he takes the position. He's in the points.
Yeah.
Cliffy still can't get past, and neither Jack Lacey still on the back of that Ferrari on Jamie.
Oh my god. It's crazy.
If either one of them were to get a penalty, then...
Oh man. Cliffy just had a good run on Joel, but couldn't quite make the most of it.
Yeah, but it's gonna with the weather getting worse and worse, it's really gonna separate the best of the best here, because there's gonna be a few. We could see a few casualties right at the end, because these tyres will soon not be fit for purpose if the rain keeps falling like this. And
yeah, for sure. Rainy conditions test drives more than any other conditions.
Cliffy gets a good line heading into 12 and 13.
Could send out the inside here.
No, he drifts wide. And to be fair to Joel, he got a
better run.
Decent run. He's still going to be right behind him. Back to XJackLacey.
Wow.
There is so much standing water now. Now Joel under attack once again from this number 43 Mercedes of Cliffy.
Wow, Cliffy's got a good run out of there. Obviously got to defend the inside as he has every single lap without fail. Cliffy's not even got the straight line speed. Joel's running quite low wings, I think.
Oh, Cliffy will make a move to the inside. Will there be contact? No, amazingly. Fair play to Joel, he gave him the space. Will he squeeze back down the inside? I think Cliffy, that's the place you want to be. You always get better traction there on the racing line, and Cliffy takes 5th position. Can Joel come back at him, I wonder? Has Cliffy got this in the bag in terms of 5th position? Aaron up to it. BigC now challenging LawlyBoy for 9th position. And amazingly, XJackLacey sick of the sight of this, the back of that Ferrari, still not. And we have yellows in sector 2. Little Blocks. I think it's had an incident. Yes, he's off. So Little Blocks out of the race. And the heavy rain claims its first victim. I dare say it won't be the last. We've still got 3 laps, including this one. But Asbest's lead has dropped to 5.3 seconds, so he's really struggling. In fact, look, the Ferrari and Force India for the first time can see Asbest on this straight.
Yeah, they can indeed. The pressure's on Ash to deliver the result.
It really is. 5.2 the gap now. Lap 27, 2 to go. Now there's no, I think even if the heavy rain had come even on lap 23 or 24, it still wouldn't have been worth it. You just lose too much time.
Inters are pretty much faster in every rain condition on this game for some reason. Heavy wets just are slow. Even when it's heavy rain, Inters seem to be quicker. Yeah,
but they are still very treacherous to use. Skeevan, very lonely 4th position, but he'll be happy with a good haul of points today if he can keep there. Yeah, Joel dropping back to Cliffy now, so I think Cliffy has got that battle done. Aaron is... so it looks like the main battle, apart from Jamie and XJackLacey, is BigC versus LawlyBoy. There is there's still now a train of 4 cars behind him. Oogie's dropped down to 13th. I wonder if anyone has actually come in for a new set of tyres. Let's check. Nope, everyone on the Inters still. So what will BigC do going into turn 4? Nothing for now. The Australian Grand Prix race winner last week won't be winning today. The gap's now 4.7 seconds between Asbest and Jamie, but to be fair to Ash, he may just be easing off given the gap he's got. So we go on board with Asbest for now as he starts the penultimate 4.5 second gap now. We saw one almighty bottle job last night in F3. Will we see another one in F1, or Asbest bring that orange and black McLaren home?
Yeah, it looks like he's got it in the bag. He's been assured all race, all race throughout the wet conditions that he's been leading.
XJackLacey not really close enough to challenge Jamie, so I don't think he's gonna be able to challenge Asbest. He doesn't want to go too slow, because if the tyre temperatures drop too much, he won't have any grip and he may risk an off. So he's got to still push if he can.
Yeah.
It's now less than 4 seconds the gap. Let's look at LawlyBoy for a second. BigC not really close enough to challenge for position. AMS is kind of as you were, they're sort of stuck in each other's slipstream. LordyBoy holding them all up. I mean, the gap between Aaron and LordyBoy already quite extensive. I think Greeny will be very pleased with 7th place, given the way his race went.
Yeah, but it just makes you think, what would have happened if he hadn't jump started? 20 seconds higher? Wow.
Ashbest going extremely slowly, but he's doing enough. Just needs to hold on. Well, he's just taking it easy. He doesn't need to push at this point. If it's 3.2 seconds, it's going to be probably a couple of seconds by the time he finishes, but he's got this. Ashbest enters F1 after successful racing in the lower divisions. McLaren driver turns 14 for the last time. The gap now 2.6 to Jamie behind. But if Ashbest picks up a penalty, he will lose the race. If Jamie didn't get any, but I don't believe he did. Ashbest rounds the final corner in a chaotic Grand Prix. He swerves a little bit, not too much, and he wins the Malaysian Grand Prix PSGL. Jamie takes second, XJackLacey, another superb podium for him. Skeevan will round the corner. Pole position wasn't meant to be, unfortunately, and it seems like everyone's doing tributes to Frizzo by the looks of it. And Skeevan finished 4th, solid points for him. Cliffy, another superb recovery drive from the back of the grid, takes 5th. Joel, a very good 6th place. Good defending from him most of the race. Greeny, 7th, even with a drive-through at the start of the race. Aaron, double point score for Renault today. LordyBoy holds off BigC for 9th position. BigC takes 10th, AMS 11th. And Oogie, MaxiLucaGT5 13th. Pine, pretty much saw nothing of him the whole race, takes the final few positions. Oh well, that was a very entertaining race, I have to say.
It was packed full of action, that, and we really didn't know who was going to win until that rain started falling down and people started to pit.
And because he never pitted, Ashbest was in the prime position to take the maximum 16 points from the Sepang International Circuit as we head to Brazil next week. He takes the race victory tonight. His first PSGL F1 victory, with Jamie, the reigning champion, taking his first podium season, and XJackLacey making it a 2nd podium in a row for Force India. So XJackLacey, an impressive start from him, and I'm sure we'll see these 3 drivers on the podium a few more times this season. So there you have it. Ashbest takes the victory after 28 laps, with Jamie in 2nd, XJackLacey in 3rd, Skeevan in 4th, Cliffy in 5th, Joel in 6th, Greeny in 7th, Aaron in 8th, LordyBoy in 9th, and BigC taking the final championship points, even with the stop-go penalty, which probably denied him the chance to battle further up the field. And then the rest of it, we had 2 retirements today, so 3 retirements rather. And now I have to quit. Oh no, I'm going to wait for this. So those... Yeah, thank you. And those in the chat, let us know who you thought your driver of the day was. Some really... Ashbest started on 15th as well, so that almost makes him driver of the day by default. I mean, what a brilliant strategy. It worked out for him. 15th to 1st, 1 stop. Interesting information for the rest of the community for their races. Start outside and just wait for the rain and you might be okay. But we shall see. I'm very much, looking forward to Brazil next week. That's another track. We see a lot of frenetic action. A good start to the calendar, if I say so myself.
Yeah.
So we're just going to wait for the top 3 to be invited in, who I do believe all have mics.
Yeah, they do. No excuses, guys.
Game Freaker asks, this might be a question for someone like BigC or maybe even Jamie, has anyone ever won on F1 race from so far on the grid? I wouldn't know personally myself, but might ask that for BigC, he might know. So then, as we wait for the rest of the podium, we are joined by tonight's race winner, Ashbest. You have taken your first PSGL F1 victory with... was a very mad race, didn't look likely for a while, but the rain turned it for you. So, your initial thoughts on that brilliant victory?
Well, first off, never thought I would say this, but I'm actually glad I qualified outside the top 10. and didn't get to start on supers or worn softs because if I had to pit, there was no way I could have finished first. But yeah, the rain really did it for me. On this game, fun facts: I've never lost in the rain in PSGL. So yeah, rain is a strong point for me.
Well, yes, and we are also now joined by the man who finished second place, the reigning PSGL F1 champion, Jamie995, who had a brilliant battle with xJackLacey towards the end of the race. But you sort of qualified third, and you sort of stayed there despite all the chaos going on with the mixed conditions. So, was it quite tough out there, or was it fairly comfortable even with xJackLacey behind you?
Oh yeah, it was tough. Mainly because of the conditions and also because obviously he was a lot quicker than me, but at the time I thought I was actually battling for the lead because I saw Ash, his car had pulled off at one point and I even overtook his desynced car, so I thought I'd won, to be honest, but obviously not, so yeah, well done Ash. So second is still pretty decent, but yeah, I feel
Jamie.
Deflated now.
Jamie, for me, your car was desynced, everyone else was fine, so...
Great. Well, this game is shit then, isn't it? Once again.
Agreed.
Agreed.
Yep, I think I wouldn't put it that way, but I do agree with the sentiment. Now we have joined by xJackLacey, who finished third today. xJackLacey, another podium to start your season. You must be very happy with that.
Well, not really happy because I think I could have won that. I got stuck behind Jamie for so many laps. I think I had the pace to catch Ash if I got past. But overall, obviously, I'll take it considering I started P8 again. So yeah, take it.
Yes, must be a good feeling for you because I do believe with this result you take the lead of the championship after 2 rounds.
Yeah. A poor result for BigC, so you know, hopefully I can keep this going, but we'll see. Too early to say anything.
Yeah, of course. So back to you, Ash Best. You had a decent result in Australia and obviously a great one tonight. What are your thoughts going further in the season? Do you think you can challenge for the championship?
Championship, well, possibly. I'm not gonna really commit to a championship battle. Taking this season as more like a quote-unquote rest season, so I'm still gonna try and fight, but I don't want to just commit again as I have other commitments in real life too, so hoping for a good result in further races, but yeah.
Excellent. And any thoughts from you, Louis, or any questions for the three?
No, I don't have any questions, but I just thought I'd say well done to Ash because I know the feeling of winning the first F1 race, it does feel good. Especially when you work so hard for it in wet conditions, so well done to you. And yeah, well done to the others too as well, Jamie and Jack, you've done well today. Well done.
Yeah. Well, so Jamie, you're in a decent position in the early championship standings. Which of the upcoming tracks do you think are you looking forward to?
Probably Austria, really. I think it's the only one of the upcoming tracks I might actually be good at. Not sure about Brazil, Monaco, no. Canada, probably not as well, so yeah, just Austria for the time being.
Right. Well, on that note, and since nobody crashed before the start-finish line to not win the race, I think we're going to end right here. Next week. No, and yes, I did want to mention that. A very clean race, more or less, from everybody tonight, so much improved from last week, so I think the rust has definitely been shaken off. And we will be in Brazil at Interlagos next week for round 3 of the championship, so thank you very much for watching, and we will see you then on GamingAlimonda. See you next time.
See you.